Albi lies just over an hour from Toulouse, yet it feels like a different world. As the train leaves the pink city behind, the landscape slowly opens into rolling countryside, vineyards, and quiet towns. This short journey takes us into the Tarn region of southern France, to a city shaped by faith, power, and brick. This film follows 1.5 days in Albi, from arrival in the afternoon, through evening in the old town, and into a quiet morning before returning to Toulouse. We arrive in Albi in the early afternoon. The pace immediately feels slower than in larger cities. The station is close to the center, and within minutes, the historic core begins to appear. Accommodation in Albi is simple and practical. Staying near the center makes the city easy to explore on foot. After dropping off luggage, the walk begins. The first and most important stop is the Cathédrale Sainte-Cécile. Nothing prepares visitors for its scale. Built almost entirely of brick, this cathedral resembles a fortress more than a church. Its construction began in the late 13th century, following the Albigensian Crusade, when the Catholic Church sought to reaffirm its authority in the region. From the outside, the walls are imposing and defensive. Inside, the contrast is striking. Painted ceilings, detailed murals, and intricate stonework fill the space with color and light.
Inside Cathédrale Sainte-Cécile, one of the most striking features is the vast painted scene of the Final Judgement, covering the interior wall above the entrance. Created in the late 15th century, this monumental artwork was designed to be seen by ordinary worshippers, many of whom could not read. Heaven and hell are depicted in vivid detail. Angels, saints, sinners, and demons arranged in a powerful visual warning about salvation and punishment. The scale and intensity of the painting reflect the Church's authority in the period following the Albigensian Crusade, using imagery as a tool of instruction and control. Today, this dramatic fresco remains one of the cathedral's most unforgettable elements. Though its official name is Cathédrale Sainte-Cécile, it is widely known simply as Albi Cathedral, the spiritual and symbolic heart of the city. Inside Cathédrale Sainte-Cécile, the vast interior is carefully structured, and one of its most distinctive architectural elements is the choir, set apart from the main nave by an elaborate stone screen. This enclosed space was designed for singers and clergy, allowing sacred music to resonate clearly through the cathedral. The finely carved screen is richly detailed, combining sculpture and craftsmanship with practical acoustics. It creates a visual and spatial rhythm within the building, guiding the eye toward the altar while shaping how sound moves through the space. This thoughtful separation highlights the cathedral's careful balance between scale, decoration, and function, a space designed as much for music and ritual as for visual impact.
This is the largest brick cathedral in the world, and one of the most extraordinary religious buildings in Europe.
Inside Cathédrale Sainte-Cécile, there is also a small reliquary displayed within the cathedral, indicating that it contains fragments of wood traditionally believed to come from the cross on which Jesus was crucified. Such relics were deeply significant in medieval churches, serving as tangible links to sacred history. Though modest in size, the reliquary draws quiet attention, reminding visitors that beyond its vast architecture and monumental paintings, the cathedral also preserves objects of personal devotion and belief that have been revered for centuries. Located in southern France, in the Tarn department of the Occitanie region, Albi sits on the banks of the Tarn River, about an hour northeast of Toulouse. The city has ancient origins, dating back to Roman times, but it rose to prominence during the Middle Ages as a religious and political center.
Beside the cathedral stands the Palais de la Berbie, once the residence of Albi's bishops. Its position overlooking the Tarn River symbolized both spiritual and political power. Today, the palace houses the Musée Toulouse-Lautrec. Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec was born in Albi, and this museum holds the world's largest collection of his works. Posters, paintings, and sketches trace his life and influence, offering insight into both the artist and his era.
Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec's paintings stand out for their focus on modern life. Cafes, theaters, and performers captured with bold lines and expressive movement. Rather than idealizing his subjects, he observed them closely, revealing personality and atmosphere through color and gesture. Like many artists of his time, Lautrec was shaped by the contrast between north and south. Southern France, with its strong light, warmer climate, and vivid colors, attracted painters seeking new ways of seeing. Artists such as Claude Monet traveled south to study its light, while Vincent van Gogh moved there permanently, finding in the south a dramatic shift in color and form that transformed his work. Southern France and towns such as Albi are often regarded as among the most scenic places in the world. Rolling countryside, rivers, historic towns, and warm brick architecture come together in a landscape shaped by both nature and time.
The palace gardens provide a quiet place to pause, with views back toward the river and the old town.
Albi is closely associated with the Cathar movement and the Albigensian Crusade, events that profoundly shaped its identity and architecture. Today, the historic town is defined by its distinctive red brick construction, narrow medieval streets, and a remarkably intact urban layout. At its heart stand the cathedral, the former bishop's palace, and surrounding quarters, together forming a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This cohesive historic center reflects centuries of continuity, making Albi one of the best preserved and most distinctive towns in southern France.
Just steps away is the Collégiale Sainte-Cécile. Smaller and older than the cathedral, it offers a very different atmosphere. Built between the 11th and 14th centuries, the church blends Romanesque and Gothic styles. Its cloister is calm and intimate, far removed from the grandeur of Sainte-Cécile. Together, these two buildings tell two sides of Albi's religious history, power and authority on one hand, daily devotion and community on the other.
The Collégiale Sainte-Cécile is also closely linked to the personal histories of the men who shaped Albi's religious life. Among them was a bishop who began his career not in the church, but as a lawyer trained in law and administration before entering religious service. Inside the Collégiale Sainte-Cécile, a historical painting depicts the city of Albi during a time of siege and conflict. In the background of the scene, the town is shown as it once appeared: fortified walls, clustered buildings, and the cathedral rising above the river. This visual record offers a rare glimpse of medieval Albi, preserving details of the city's layout long before modern development. Beyond its religious meaning, the painting also serves as a historical document, illustrating how the city understood and remembered its own past during periods of uncertainty and defense.
From here, the walk continues through Albi's historic streets. Half-timbered houses, narrow lanes, and warm brick facades define the old town. The tourist office nearby offers maps and local information, but Albi is a city best discovered slowly, without a strict plan.
Crossing the Pont Vieux, one of the oldest bridges in France still in use, the view opens up. From here, the cathedral dominates the skyline. Its brick walls glow warmly in the afternoon light, reflected in the Tarn River below. This viewpoint captures the essence of Albi, a city where architecture and landscape are inseparable. The Pont Vieux, meaning the old bridge, has connected the two sides of Albi for nearly 1,000 years. Built around the 11th century, it once formed part of the city's defensive system and served as a vital crossing over the Tarn River for merchants, pilgrims, and everyday life. For centuries, it was the main entrance into the historic town, linking trade routes and allowing Albi to grow beyond its original walls. Despite floods, wars, and the passing of time, the bridge has remained in continuous use, one of the oldest bridges in France still carrying traffic today. From its arches, the view of the cathedral and red brick town reflects the endurance of Albi itself, shaped by movement, exchange, and continuity. These streets are not designed for visitors alone. They are residential, practical, and unchanged by tourism trends. The beauty here is not dramatic or overwhelming, but enduring, revealed slowly through light, color, and everyday life. It is the kind of place that lingers in memory and one that deserves a place on any thoughtful travel wish list. Albi is not a city that overwhelms. It does not rush visitors from one site to the next. Instead, it reveals itself slowly, through brick, water, silence, and time. In just 1.5 days, Albi offers history without excess, beauty without spectacle, and a rare sense of continuity. A city shaped by belief, power, and everyday life, and one that remains quietly unforgettable. As evening approaches, the streets grow quieter. Locals gather for food and conversation, and the pace of the city softens. Markets and small restaurants offer regional dishes, local wine, and simple meals. Albi is not a city of nightlife, it is a city of evenings. As night falls, the cathedral remains illuminated, its presence steady and silent above the rooftops. The next morning reveals a different side of the city. Without crowds, Albi feels almost village-like. A walk through Park Rochebud shows everyday life, joggers, dog walkers, and quiet paths. The park is not monumental, but it is lived in. Albi's charm lies in this balance, a historic city that remains genuinely local. By mid-afternoon, it is time to leave. The return train to Toulouse departs quietly, and the red brick skyline of Albi slowly fades from view.